When I saw mushroom head, I was born, I was dead. I'm gonna keep my distance. Music became an obsession for me around the age of 15, 16. The first gig I went to was, I think, October 1976. And I went with a guy called Alan McGee, who later on became the mastermind and the boss of Creation Records. I didn't know him, but I knew that he was into music. He was the kid in my area that was always carrying albums into school, you know. Because in those days, kids they'd walk around with the album under their arm so people could see what band they were into. It was never in a plastic. There was no tote bags in those days, right? And McGee always had like a Bowie, Diamond Dogs, or Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, you know. And I didn't really know anybody that was into music. And I loved this song, "The Boys Are Back in Town." It was a huge hit over the summer of 1976. Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town. There was this newspaper called Evening Times, and I was looking through the Evening Times one night, and they had an advert, Glasgow Polo, Thin Lizzy. So I thought about it. I thought, that guy Alan McGee, you know, he nods at me, you know, at school. We say hello to each other. We've never spoken to each other, but I know that he's into rock music. I called up, and this lady answered the phone. And I said, "Hello, is Alan there?" And she said, "Who is this?" I said, "Bobby Gillespie." And he came to the phone. I said, "Hi, it's Bobby Gillespie. Thin Lizzy are playing tonight. Would you like to go?" And he said, "Yeah, okay." I said, "Okay, I'll meet you at 7 o'clock at the bus stop in Cathcart Road, near Soundtrack, near the record store." So 7 o'clock, I went down there, and it was like a cold winter's night, October's, and McGee was waiting for me. Thin Lizzy came out, and there was these explosions of smoke bombs and police sirens, and you know, as soon as they hit the first chord of Jailbreak, just like, whoa, you know, colour, you know, noise explosion. The gig just, you know, I'm going to use a cliche here, completely blew my teenage mind, you know. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak somewhere in the town. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak, so don't you be around. I was in Primal Scream a bit, you know, at the same time as the Mary Chain, but Primals are, you know, small band. We never played many gigs. The Mary Chain exploded from the get-go. And so I spent a lot of time on tour, away in Europe, America, you know, the UK with the Jesus Mary Chain. So Scream were kind of put, you know, in the back burner. The Mary Chain, when they went out, there was this barrage of noise, and it was violent, and riots, and aggression, and the music was aggressive and very dark, and you could easily hide behind that wall of sound, you know, and easily, you know, because it was, the band were really assaulting the audience with the feedback and Williams' chainsaw guitar. The British music press advertised Jesus Mary Chain as the new Sex Pistols. So they had fucking, you know, all sorts of crazy people coming, you know. Whereas Primals were playing little clubs, just like a couple of hundred people. In the early days of Primal Scream, I would just stand and I wouldn't move. You know, all of us would just stand still, we would not move. You know, and that was quite intense. Whereas with the Mary Chain, Jim Reid was rolling around on the floor, screaming, "Fuck, fuck, cunt, bastard, fuck," you know, screaming as though someone was stabbing him to death, you know. our second album was a lot more ballsy, more high energy, balls to the wall, rock and roll, influenced by MC5, New York Dolls, Stooges. And so we immediately became a lot harder musically and you know, if not in attitude. And but by the time we got to Screamadelica, I mean, Screamadelica is quite a soft record. There's a lot of ballads on it, like Shine Like Stars, Damaged, Higher Than the Sun, I'm Coming Down. They're not really like rock and roll songs, they're like singer-songwriter, like Carole King, Beach Boys. You know, they're very tender songs.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
That record has touched so many people. You know, I've met people who've been married to that record, who have given their birth to their children to that record, and I've met people who have buried their best friends to that record, and people who have conceived their child to that record. You know, and all of life seems to be related to that record for a lot of people. You know. Evil Heat was the follow-up record to Exterminator, and it was written and recorded very quickly. Some of the songs on Evil Heat were written at the time of Exterminator. I was breaking up with my girlfriend of 10 years, breaking up with my manager of 10 years. Creation Records collapsed. The Primals were just touring. We were taking a lot of drugs to get us through the tour, a lot of amphetamines. You know, we'd take ecstasy. We'd do a great gig on Speed and then walk off stage and start doing E's just to calm down, you know, to take the edge off. Yeah, I like that record. I always think it's like science fiction rock and roll, you know, there's something, it's got a strangeness to it. You know, it's got these beautiful electronic pop songs like Autobahn 66. Skull X is a literal explanation of my state of mind summer 2000 when I was taking so much fucking amphetamine. My skull was exploding, you know. I never really listened to Harmonia until the 1990s, you know, and that was really through a Julian Cope book called Krautrock Sampler. But Can, I heard in the 1980, either 1980 or 1981. There was a record store at the bottom of my street in Glasgow, and it was called Soundtrack. I was flicking through the racks, and there was an album called Cannibalism, and I'd read in the music press John Lydon name-checking Can as an influence for Public Image Limited. So I thought it had quite a strange cover, you know, it's quite science fiction-y, and I looked, it's a double album, and I looked inside it, and the sleeve notes were by Pete Shelley from Buzzcocks. So it was in the fire sale, like 80p or something, and so I thought, nothing to lose, I'll buy it, you know. Can sounded like nothing I'd ever heard before. You know, it was like really strange music. In the Jesus and Mary chain, we covered Mushroom. But, I remember William saying we're gonna do Mushroom by Can. I thought, I can't drum like Jackie Lee was saying. So I made my own, you know, like, when I saw mushroom head. I was born, I was dead. I'm gonna keep my distance. I'm gonna keep my distance. And, you know, and we just free-formed it every night. We never played that song the same twice. When I got a bit older and more music savvy, I realised that the post-punk bands that I loved had taken quite a lot from bands like Can, you know. I gotta keep my distance. I gotta keep my distance. Tom Dowd, the producer Tom Dowd, who produced John Coltrane, Big Joe Turner, The Drifters, Aretha Franklin, Eric Clapton, Rod Stewart, all sorts of varied artists. He said, you know, you should always be working, you should always be writing, you should always be writing lyrics, you should always be writing songs, because if you're out partying, you know, or having fun, some other kid somewhere in the world is sitting at home with his guitar, his keyboard, and he's writing a song. And you know, he might write a better song than you do. So you got to keep working, because you've got a chance here. You've got the ear of a lot of people. You got a really good platform. You're making hit records. So don't let it go. Don't get complacent. Don't get lazy. You're good at what you do. You've got a great band. Keep working. And we did, yeah. And that was sagely advice from Tom Dowd, you know.